if you get right with God and get into your Bible and realize that you
What if they don't believe in God? Now you can't make it in life if you don't believe in God based on what you're saying.
Are you afraid to burn in hell?
Excuse me?
Are you afraid to burn in hell?
Welcome to the Dark Times channel. And before I get started, make sure you guys hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel and you enjoy the content so far on this channel, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so happy New Year to everybody out there. And this is my first video of 2024. And I hope to keep creating content. Number one, content that I enjoy doing and content that I want to do. And number two, content that hopefully you all want to see and hopefully content that you all can enjoy as well.
I don't want to hear about leaks. The Boston Celtics blew up the story. You could have fired him and said, ask him.
What if the biggest AI threat of all is to human relationships?
Hey you, I'm Alice, a 25 years old, fun-loving and adventurous girl, seeking a partner in crime to travel the world with and make unforgettable memories.
So it learns from you. It learns what you like and what you don't like, what kind of pictures you like, what kind of pictures you don't like. And while not all needs are met, that is the next step, is actual physical girlfriends, AI ones for that matter. And so the next step or the next frontier is one that meets all of your needs.
Took this concept, ideas and words can evolve, but it really put this out, this idea we should wake up to these problems and stay woke.
Sure.
We track how you started it and how it spread, and then how some on the right are sort of hijacking or attacking it or giving it a different definition.
Fascism that will destroy our nation.
We will never ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to.
I think they mean black. Yeah.
And so I'm gonna keep dropping these videos in 2024, and like I said earlier, hopefully you guys can find them somewhat informative, and at the same time, hopefully you guys can find them entertaining. And keep dropping those likes on me, and at the same time, let me know how you feel in the comment section. And so it's been a while since I've done a Jason Whitlock reaction video, but I came across something that's pretty rare when it comes to Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock actually did something that I haven't seen him do, and maybe he has, but not to my knowledge. Jason Whitlock actually brought somebody on who was going to challenge his views and give him some pushback that he normally doesn't get.
If you're not a go-getter, if you ain't got the heart to go out and take what you want, shut up.
Nah, we need them in life. That's why the
I'm not saying we don't need them. I'm just saying shut up.
Nah, we need them.
No,
to
we
keep
need
talking.
that. No, we need that.
We need that opinion.
Yeah, we need that.
We need more.
If the three of us sat on here and agreed, this would be a shitty show.
And so absolutely, shout out to Marshall Faulk. I completely agree with exactly everything he just said. And that's been one of my biggest pet peeves with the Jason Whitlock. As a so-called black man and an individual with a lot of reach, if you're gonna have these opinions, these strong opinions about what the so-called black community needs to do, especially when you have the platform of a Jason Whitlock and you're coming across as somebody who's this sincere Christian and who actually gives a damn, you can at least have somebody that's gonna challenge you on some of your more controversial views. So that's exactly what went down here with Jason Whitlock and the Hall of Famer Warren Sapp, and of course the legendary Hall of Fame running back Marshall Faulk.
My father depended on James Whitlock in the 1970s, 80s, 90s, 2000, all the way up to his death. And he just, and forgive me for being this honest, but like, he didn't like white people.
And so this is an argument that we hear a lot of times from a lot of hardcore right-wing so-called black conservatives, whether it's a grandparent or a mother or a father who grew up during Jim Crow and they didn't like white people. And it's something that's irrelevant, and I'll tell you why. Because Jason Whitlock was born, I believe, in 1970 in Indiana, which means his father would have been born and alive and well during the height of Jim Crow in Indiana, of all places. And so during that time, and in particular in that place in Indiana, it would be inappropriate if his dad did like white people. But this is why I say it's irrelevant, because Jason Whitlock's father didn't have the ability or the power to make an impact or to make a difference in the least of any white person in Indiana. He didn't own or control the police force. He wasn't a mayor. He wasn't a councilman. He wasn't a lawyer. He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't any of those things. He owned his own businesses in a black neighborhood. And so-called black people growing up in the height of Jim Crow, not liking white people, I would say that's an appropriate response. And I'm not talking about just not liking people just for the hell of it. I'm talking about not liking people who are known for not liking you and having a disdain for you and your skin color. I'm not talking about going out and harming a group of people or anything like that. I'm talking about just having a healthy dislike for people who don't like you. That's what it comes down to. It's called having a sense of pride. I'm not gonna turn the cheek when somebody slaps me. I'm gonna slap them back. Somebody spits on me, I'm gonna spit back on them. If somebody doesn't like me, I'm not gonna like them back. Or at the very least, I'm just not gonna fool with them.
And so he didn't concern himself with them. And he built opportunities for himself to be happy and take care of himself, take care of me and my brother. Married 3 times, take care of his wives and girlfriends. He just wasn't sitting around with, oh boy, I can't, if the white man would just do this or that for me, I'd be happy.
I agree with that.
And that's what I hear too much from us. If the white man would do this, I could be successful.
But where did that come from? Because
that's the underlying message. That's the underlying message.
No, it's not.
So that's another conservative talking point that we hear oftentimes, mainly coming from black conservatives, that somehow black people are just sitting around complaining about what the white man won't give them.
You got a chance, and I want to hear about your environment, what your mama didn't give you, and the white man won't give you no shot. You got a chance.
But that's a script that many of us know that hasn't been written by us. It's a talking point, but I've literally never heard anybody say that. And then Jason Whitlock tries to move the goalposts and say, well, that's the underlying talking point. You can call out injustice and at the same time not be begging for a handout. You can ask not to be denied for a home loan.
But it wasn't just Atandi. Thousands of other black applicants were also rejected. According to a CNN analysis of federal consumer protection data, last year, Navy Federal Credit Union only approved 48%. That's less than half of its black applicants for conventional home mortgages. White borrowers were approved more than 75% of the time. It's the biggest gap among the top 50 lenders. The data also shows Navy Federal was more than twice as likely to deny black mortgage applicants than white ones, even when different variables, including income, debt, property value, and down payment percentage, were the same. Another bank approved Atandi for a mortgage. Navy Federal Credit Union denied CNN's request for an on-camera interview.
There's something else going on.
And what did you think that something else was?
And as you all know, this is something that's not uncommon. This is something that has been going on since the beginning. Despite all the anti-discrimination legislation that's been passed, this is something that continues to go on to this day. But let a Candace Owens or Jason Whitlock tell it, and it's just black people complaining. And that's the age-old trick. Rather than confronting the racism and discrimination head on, they'll just find a Thomas Sowell or a Candace Owens or a Clarence Thomas or a Jason Whitlock and prop them up as the example of, you see, you can do it. You can get it on your own despite discrimination. In fact, there is no discrimination and it's all in your head. But it's halfway true. We can get it despite discrimination. We can go out and get it from the mud. We're probably the only group of people that can do it despite being targeted. But the bottom line is we shouldn't have to. We pay the same taxes as everybody else in this country, and we should be afforded the same opportunities, and at the very least, not sabotaged. I want to go ahead and play one last clip of Jason Whitlock doing the exact same thing that he's accusing black people of doing, which is complaining.
Again, my grandmother planted some seeds in me, a church planted some seeds in me, and then my father, who wasn't a religious person, he backed it up with the principles he applied in life. And he didn't know it, but they were very consistent with what's in the Bible. And he wasn't a religious person, but he was a Booker T. Washington. I'm gonna cast down my bucket here. I'm gonna block out all the noise, and I'm gonna make my happiness right here where I'm happy.
I'm all for
that. I like that.
Which Bible, by the way?
King James. Start with any of the Bibles.
I'm just asking.
I would,
Your version of the Bible, who wrote it?
5,000-year-old story that's not on first, second-hand account, third, fourth-hand account.
I'm just saying, because if a white man wrote it, your dad, I don't know if he should have been reading that.
I told you my dad's not religious.
I'm just saying.
Wasn't religious, but the color of the skin of whoever wrote it is 1,000% irrelevant.
Not true. Not true if like all of this not lining up. Your math ain't mathing right now.
Why the color of the skin of who? I don't. If the white dude here told me today is Thursday, that's just a fact. If you told me today is Thursday, that's just a fact. I don't care who tells the truth.
That's an easily discernible fact.
So are the things written in the Bible, but that's a yes. So are the things written in the Bible.
Walking on water.
But I'm just in this like
2 fish, 5 loaves of bread, water to wine, splitting the Red Sea.
But I'm just in this like
2 fish, 5 loaves of bread, water to wine, splitting the Red Sea.
And as crazy as you think those things are.
I didn't say it was crazy. I'm just calling them out.
Okay, but as crazy as someone listening might think that sounds. Y'all sitting around pretending like y'all want to we can't get an opportunity, and y'all sitting around saying
that's not
nothing.
True.
Y'all,
that's not
let
true.
me finish.
No.
Let me finish. Y'all sitting around saying nothing as they inject all these women into the NFL. We got sideline judges, assistant coaches, executives, but we can't get an opportunity. But y'all say nothing when they sliding all these women into a game that you built and it's meant for men. But I'm the crazy person because I believe in the Bible, and I'm sitting here watching them move men out of leadership positions and move women in to spaces reserved for men, and no one says a word.
Oh, so it's the women's fault now, Mr. Whitlock, for putting these women in these positions. It's their fault for going out and getting these jobs that they apply for or that they position themselves for. And notice how Whitlock keeps using the word they. Who's they? That's what I would like to know. Who's they? And if I had to take a stab at it, my guess is he would be talking about the liberal. And so now it's the liberal white man's fault. Can't be the white man's fault. It's got to be the liberal white man's fault. That's the only time that people like Jason Whitlock or Candace Owens are allowed to criticize so-called white people. If they blame it on the liberals. And they'll never put a white in front of it. They'll just say, oh, it's the liberals' fault. As if we all don't know by default that means white liberal. Because there's no black liberals making these executive decisions in these football arenas or these basketball arenas or on a lot of these different sports networks. And so it's the liberals' fault now. As if there's a difference as it pertains to us. I don't know any black people that are making those executive decisions, that are putting these women in those positions that you say belong to men, that you're complaining about belong to men. I don't know any black executives that are making those decisions. But watch how Marshall Faulk checks him on this.
You want to know where it all started?
What?
It all started when
Phyllis Gregg, huh?
When the expert no. It all started when the expert opinion about playing a sport and how to play a sport, it was when it became okay for journalists to become experts, as if they knew because they was around it and they've been around it. When you change that, when you don't actually have to do something to be an expert, then everybody can do it.
Bingo.
Anybody can do it.
And so Marshall Faulk got him with that one. And I know that one probably stung a little bit for Jason Whitlock, because Jason Whitlock is a journalist who's made his money on Fox News critiquing sports that he's never played. And so if a Jason Whitlock can do it, like Marshall Faulk said, anybody can do it. And so why are you complaining, Mr. Whitlock? He's complaining because he got kicked off of Fox Sports because his ratings weren't good. Nobody wanted to listen to his babble and his pandering. After a while, it got old, and even Fox Sports couldn't use him anymore. They had to find somebody else to regurgitate some of the talking points. But shout out to Jason Whitlock. Shout out to Whitlock. I know I've been critical of Whitlock on this channel, and rightfully so. I'm definitely not going to backtrack on that, but I will say this. I think he probably underestimated Marshall Faulk just a little bit, because in the past, Whitlock's been very selective on who he chooses to bring on his platform. And oftentimes, it's not anybody like a Marshall Faulk. You know, Whitlock could bring on a Warren Sapp or a Brett Favre or somebody like Sage Steele, individuals like this. But he's never brought on somebody like a Marshall Faulk to actually challenge him on a lot of his far-right talking points. And so shout out to Jason Whitlock, because like I said in the beginning, if you're going to have viewpoints like a Jason Whitlock and they're actually sincere viewpoints, then have somebody on to challenge you on it if you actually care about the community the way you say you do. And so we'll see if we continue to have Marshall Faulk on again or somebody like him. But that's going to be it on this one. Definitely go ahead and let me know how y'all feel about this one in the comment section. And as usual, peace and chaos.